and concealed carry of firearms. And as a lot of you know, the governor has issued, the governor don't issue opinions, but he gave his opinion as to other facilities other than courts. For instance, I take that to mean facilities like you outgrow your courthouse, you go to another building, you might have your clerk, your county clerk, your district clerks there. I believe that's what the legislative intent was. I believe that's what the governor's talking about. So I don't think I'm in competition with what the governor's wanting, but the way I looked at it at the Smith County Courthouse, and I talked to commissioners about it this week in Commissioners Court as well as last week, and just take the courthouse for instance. You have courts, a court, a domestic relations court on the bottom floor of the courthouse in between both entranceways of the courthouse. Both public entranceways, the only way you can get into the courtroom is public. And the law is clear on you cannot carry open or concealed within a courtroom. Then I believe you have to go next to define what is the courtroom. And my definition, or what I have found from talking to numerous people, some attorneys as well, is a courtroom is more largely defined as, for instance, in the domestic relations court, there's a bench out in front of the courtroom. That bench is a bench for witnesses who are waiting to go into court to sit before they're called in the courtroom. Therefore, that is part of the court. So that is what I was talking about when there's no legitimate, legal, lawful way to conceal or open carry in the Smith County Courthouse. Other buildings where there's not a court, which there's very few of the, not a court or not a jail, there's very few in the county that fit that bill. The only way you could do, for instance, the courthouse annex, it would take a lot of money to a lot of different configurations because you have a courtroom right inside the magnetometer there. You have a justice peace court on the 5th floor there. And all the JP courts throughout the county would also fit as a court. So basically that's what I was talking about. I have no issue whatsoever concealed or open carry in any other building that does not house a court that is a Smith County building.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the open carry law. As I understand, it's going to come into effect on January 1st.
Yes, sir.
What's your position on open carry?
My position on open carry is the legislature enacted the law. We're to follow the law, and personally, I have a personal opinion. I will not open carry. I don't even open carry as a sheriff because I don't want to be a victim that's in a convenience store that has my back to the door. And once an armed robber is committed to do the robbery, he's committed before he comes into the door. There I am with my back to him with my gun on. I'm going to be the first victim. But everybody has the right, per the new law, to open carry. And as part of the legislative committee for the Sheriff's Association of Texas, once I felt the bill was going to pass, I contacted the sheriff, a friend of mine in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where they had open carry for quite some time. I then contacted the sheriffs of Mississippi, where either last year or the year before last they went to open carry, just to kind of get out in front of all this and see what for us to expect as far as our interaction with the citizens who do open carry and things of that nature. And I was assured by all of them that it's not going to be any big issue.
Let's talk about some of the specifics about that law, because I'm still learning about it myself. Can a law enforcement officer, if they see somebody openly carrying a firearm, does a law enforcement officer have the right to go up to that person and say, "Can I see your license"?
They do. There was an amendment to that bill that the amendment failed. The amendment was to not allow law enforcement to do that, but that amendment did fail. Therefore, the law is that a law enforcement officer can. However, our stance here in Smith County, at least from the sheriff's office perspective, is going to be reasonable suspicion or probable cause before we start checking people who have an open carry firearm.